So in the past year, as in 2023, I feel like the spark of shows kinda left. Like there wasn't any new notable shows that was peaking and everyone was talking about. I mean, except The Idol, if that's your forte.
My friend's a gynecologist. You don't see me sticking my finger in everybody, do you?
Honestly, media ain't been the same since like 2020. We've been on a drought of everything for years. And as this drought goes on, these shows start to fall off worse and worse. So I'm gonna split the categories into actual shows and then anime because you know I had to put animes in this video. There's too many not to talk about. Warning, obvious spoiler warnings ahead for any of the shows I talk about. And the first show we got is none other than our childhood classic. SpongeBob is by far one of the most iconic franchises of all time. The first 3 seasons of SpongeBob are all-time peak. You're not telling me any different. Like, I could go back right now as an adult to watch and laugh at the episodes just as much as I was when I was a kid. Almost every single SpongeBob meme you see online specifically comes from the first 3 seasons. And the SpongeBob movie, it's perfection. They somehow adapted a movie people already watched into a game and made it good. There's no other shows that's touching the calibers of this. Most people would think, why the f would they even buy the game then? But after season 3, it was pretty much downhill from there. There could be good episodes here and there, but I'm really scrolling right now looking at these episodes past season 3, and I'm not recognizing jack. It's like they started making the episodes worse on purpose. Like, did any of y'all know that Anthony Davis was in a SpongeBob episode in 2020? This should be balling on the court with LeBron. What you doing, dog? Even the movies too. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really watch the 3rd SpongeBob Out of Water movie, and I guarantee some of y'all didn't even know these movies existed. But I can tell you, both of these movies are simply not touching the first SpongeBob movie. Nowadays, they rely on posting on their YouTube channel, which is just spam with random uploads of things every day. Counting every time someone says plankton, 45-minute video. Every instrument ever in Bikini Bottom, 56-minute video. Every time anyone cooked a Krabby Patty, 2-hour video. They're taking the child YouTuber route and uploading long-ass videos so kids won't click off. The sad thing too about all this was that SpongeBob was never supposed to air this long in the first place. Steven Hillenburg wanted SpongeBob to end after the first movie, which would have been perfect. But the people at Nickelodeon gathered together and said, yeah, we're not ending this. And he ended up leaving as the main writer, which directly correlates to SpongeBob's downfall. He even said he didn't want spin-offs, and specifically ones where they age down the characters because, well, that always goes great.
Look at the top of his head.
And what did Nickelodeon do to honor his legacy after he died? The exact thing he didn't want them to. Like, did any one of y'all even know these spin-offs exist? This is my first time even knowing Patrick had a spin-off. I refuse to watch it specifically because that ugly-ass baby's holding in his hand. I don't even want to know what type of character that is. Is that supposed to be his little sister? The next show we got is 13 Reasons Why. The fact that this show even exists is kind of hilarious because it's the concept of a girl in a high school ending her life and leaving out 13 tapes for people to trace the clues why she did it, like Scooby-Doo. The peak of its hype was like the 1st season and 2nd season, I think. And I won't lie, I was pretty invested at first, especially for the 1st season because one by one were they introducing a new character and giving a backstory. But I think the thing that really killed it was there's too many seasons. Like, this show could have easily been 1 season with 13 episodes for every tape, but it goes on for 4 seasons. Like, how much do you have to talk about? The bitch is already dead. Half the characters in the show never look like high schoolers either. Like, you're gonna sit here and tell me any of these characters look like high schoolers? This man is almost the height of the hallway roof. Get his ass on the court. And all the shit that was going on in this high school was anything but high schooler activity. I'll never forget when Tyler got that whole broom shoved up his ass. Honestly, after that is when I wanted to stop watching. And for y'all that have never seen it, take one advice from this video and
Do not search up that scene.
The show was also hella controversial because it depicted a teenage girl unaliving herself. And since most teenagers are stupid and influenced by dumb you can guess who would get influenced by this. It's so bad that you can't even search up 13 Reasons Why on TikTok. It's banned. Do it. Try it right now. I guarantee it's not gonna let you search it up. And honestly, after maturing ever since watching this, I'm realizing this was the villain the whole time. She should have just died in peace instead of making a whole treasure hunt. So many lives ended up being taken in the process to find out why she did it. Big spoiler warning. The only person who really deserved to die was Bryce. F that. he gets dirty on his brain. And the dumbest I seen in the show was when one of the reason revealed on why she did it was because someone in the class wrote she had the best ass. She ain't have no ass, by the way. The actress is in her 20s. I can say that, okay? Next is Family Guy. At a certain point, Family Guy was one of the all-time GOATs for shows in general. Everyone would be fiending and waiting for the next season to drop when another one ended. But slowly over time, it just started to hit less and less. Even when you search up Family Guy best moments, there's always going to be jokes and cutaways from the older seasons. I stopped actively watching when they reached the mid to late teens of seasons. But why the is there 22 seasons of Family Guy? Am I the only one surprised by that? There's only so much that happens in Quahog for that to even be a thing. And the main thing I used to love from Family Guy was those Stewie and Brian episodes. Bro, when Stewie and Brian got together to do something in an episode, you knew it was gonna be a classic. I feel like if they made one of these episodes each season, it could be a thing to keep people invested. Even Seth MacFarlane doesn't believe in Family Guy anymore. He hasn't written for the show since 2005, which is surprising to me because when everyone thinks of Family Guy, they think of him. But Family Guy did manage to stay good for a while after he left, and nowadays it's in the dustbin. If you sit here and tell me season 22 of Family Guy is good, I'm simply not listening to you. I feel like more of the younger generation is watching South Park because South Park is always up to date. Like they made a whole episode joking about Prime. Keep in mind, Trey Parker and Matt Stone are in their 50s. If I ask my parents do they even know who Logan Paul or KSI is, they're gonna look at me like I just made those names up on the spot. And I can't take it serious anymore because of those dumb TikTok clips that are always playing. Even when you search up Family Guy funny moments on YouTube, there's like a gazillion channels reposting clips from the show. If I owned a show and people were posting full episodes of it on YouTube, I'm throwing copyright strikes left and right. But I think Seth MacFarlane does not give a about the show anymore and lets people do whatever they want with it. Next is Fairly Odd Parents. Fairly Odd Parents is in the category SpongeBob of all-time cartoon goats. The show could have went on potentially for millenniums because all that needed to happen was Timmy making a wish, him fucking up the wish, and having to later fix it on by himself. Oh my god, the show had some of the best cartoon episode specials ever. The Channel Chasers episode, the Jimmy Timmy Power Tower episode, the Abracatastrophe episode, and they all brought original concepts to the show's power system as well. But there's three main factors we can contribute to its downfall. Number one is Poof. Poof was introduced in season 6 of Fairly Odd Parents, which was around halfway through the show, and a lot of people was not f***ing with that lore. I used to think Poof was cool, and I kinda liked him, so I don't know. But this next person was definitely more to blame. Sparky. If people thought there was no point in adding Poof to the show, Sparky was gonna make them even more mad. Sparky was a magical dog and became Timmy's first pet in season 9. He was honestly just useless to the show and didn't really add anything. Like, he would come in here and there for a gag, but no one really gave a f***. He kind of ruined the dynamic between Timmy, Cosmo, and Wanda. Because at least with Poof, Poof was a baby. He wasn't really doing nothing. And out of all things to add to a show, you add a talking dog, bro. I've seen that like a million times already. But this next person was actually what got the
entire show canceled.
Chloe. You know, I gotta clap it up for Nickelodeon for ruining their legacy so quickly. Chloe was easily the most conniving little annoying creature ever added to any cartoon. Chloe was added in season 10 of Fairly Odd Parents. And she was added because there was a shortage of fairies in the fairy world, so she had to share fairies with Timmy. Which, by the way, I feel like this killed off the appeal of even having fairy godparents. Because when I was a kid, I damn near wanted my own fairy godparents. It felt unique and special to be that kid picked by the fairy gods to have one. So sharing ruins the appeal of it, and this ruined the appeal for me. She would start breaking down at random times for no reason, being the most annoying nuisance in the entire town of Dimsdale. I wouldn't even be surprised if some of y'all don't even know who Chloe is. That's how bad of a character she made the show. But let me just give this time to commemorate my favorite characters after its unfortunate ending. Cosmo, Chester, Jorgen von Strangle, Chip Skylark, and of course, the Nigga Chin! Now let's move on to our kawaii woo anime category. I've been vibrating vigorously to do this. And the first anime we gotta talk about is Tokyo Revengers. At a certain point, Tokyo Revengers was being hyped up to be the new big 3. And me and my friends was highly interested in it at first. Like, the character designs is still cold. I don't know who's letting these middle schoolers get tattoos like this, but they fire. And by the way, how are any of these characters supposed to be middle schoolers? Like, Draken is supposed to be 15 in the show. This man puts the beats on people like a 20-year jujutsu master. I think the main reason it fell off is because after all the hype from season 1, they took 2 years for the next season. And the anime industry is toxic, okay? If you're not working slave hours like Mappa delivering new seasons every year, your is bound to fail. And the animation was just not it sometimes. I don't know when this happened, but apparently the new season also aired on Disney Plus. This explains his failure. Anything Disney grabs its greedy little hands gets squeezed to death, so I'm not surprised. Like, you're supposed to be streaming people's favorite childhood movies, not our animes. If Disney acquires any more animes, we gotta go on strike like those writers did. Honestly though, with Tokyo Revengers, I've never had an anime I watched where I was interested more in the side characters than the main character. This man Takamichi was a flashback to anyone who came in his way. Mikey should have been the main character the whole time. Next is Seven Deadly Sins. Ooh, I know some of y'all haven't heard this name in yonders. I probably woke up someone in a coma from just uttering the name. The first season literally came out in 2015, almost 10 years ago. And it's sad to know that it's known by anything but 7 Deadly Sins, 7 Deadly Frames, 7 Deadly Paid Animators, 7 Deadly Slideshows. But if you watched this anime when it first came out, you would know how hyped people were. There was a certain point where the show actually had good animation, and people were getting Netflix subscriptions out of all things just to watch it. It could have easily been top 10 anime of all time. I remember when they were first introducing each sin, and I thought it was so cold how they were all different. Meliodas and Bond's relationship was real homie ties. That man Bond was a weirdo though. He was dating an entire child. Correction, and a 1,000-year-old fairy spirit. Why do animes do this? And now they don't even animate it anymore. It's full on CGI. I've never seen an anime fall off so bad. They just say, F it, we're not even gonna draw. Next is Boruto. Boruto was always bound to fail because the show is 70% filler. Can you imagine watching any show and 70% of the story doesn't even matter to the plot? Like, man, I got things to do with my time. I got money to make. But there was a certain point a couple of years ago that was keeping the Boruto hype alive. The time skip. All the Boruto fanboys was swearing to everyone that once this hits animation, it's gonna be on levels of Naruto Shippuden. And Naruto became mainstream because of the time skip, so I had a lot to live up to. The Boruto time skip did end up happening last year, and yeah, ain't no one talking about it. All that hype flip-flopped in the air just to put out nothing. They even canceled the anime last year. I mean, not like anyone was actively watching it anyways. It was out here competing with 7 Deadly Sins for worst animation of all time. They had my man Naruto looking like Tyler the Creator's mugshot. We should have really gave up on Boruto when Kishimoto, aka the original creator of Naruto, didn't even want to write on Boruto. Like, there was no point for this little and his annoying crew to be making a whole new story. And the very last thing we've got is My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia, when it was first dropping, was legit being compared to Naruto. Now, as disrespectful as that sounds, My Hero Academia has 85 million total sales, and for something new, that's insane. You have celebrities like Megan Thee Stallion cosplaying characters from it. Oh my god. I don't care if she lied on Tori's name. Keep that thug locked up. Ignoring the stench of the average My Hero fans, everyone was hyped for every new season dropping. But that was the exact problem. The fans. I think the fans single-handedly turned away any potential watchers to it. I had my friends come up to me who never watched anime and would show me some cringe My Hero fan compilation from TikTok. These organisms had to be grown in a lab, like Petri dish creations type. And the fans was out here sending death threats to the creator for not making Deku and Baku go gay. I know that man is disappointed in the type of fans he's attracted. I personally think the hype died down because this goddamn series is going on for way too long. It should have been ended while people were still interested, but the entire manga is still going. I'm not even saying it's bad. Heck, I was reading it for a while. It felt like the story was getting too complex to the point you don't even know what's happening. Like, bro, I just looked at the latest manga chapter and there's an entire volcano sprung from the ground. Who the even has the ability to do this? I remember when people had powers like fire and ice. Keep in mind, they have to adapt all this into seasons of the show, so we're in for like 5 or 6 more seasons that are unneeded. So yeah, that about wraps everything up. If your show was on here, you can go ahead and cope in the comment section, because that just boosted into the algorithm. I need my hate pushed out to the masses. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, I love you guys consensually. And until next time, I'm out.